Hola, en el video de esta clase lo que vamos a ver es Present Perfect y estas clases son para la materia de inglés para el grado de noveno año de colegio. So, Present Perfect tense. This is used when we want to describe an action or an experience that happened in the past but continues to happen in the present or has some effect in the present. So this is something that started in the past but in the present it has an effect. It either has not stopped, this action hasn't been finished, or it has been finished, but it has impacted the present. Some examples are you have worked hard, she has broken glass, I have forgotten the answer, and they have written a letter. How do we make sentences with present perfect? So, what we need is for the affirmative sentences, we take the subject, then we add the verb to have, and lastly, we add the verb that we need, but in past participle. For example, he has called. So we have he as the subject, to have, that's the same thing as has. Why is it different? Because our subject is he, and so we have to use has instead of have. And then the past participle. The verb is call, but the past participle of call is called with ed at the end. She has moved, same thing. She, subject, has, and then moved, but the past participle of move is moved. In the negative form, is very similar to the affirmative one. The one thing that we need to do is that we need to add the word not. So we add the word not in between to have and the past participle. So it is subject plus to have plus not plus past participle. For example, she has not arrived. She being the subject, then has, then the word not, and then arrived. Past participle is arrived with ed. And he has not married. To make questions, what we do as usual is we mix things up. We are going to use the to have, the verb to have first, and then we add the subject, and at the end, the past participle. So to have plus subject plus past participle. For example, have you studied? Have goes first, then you is the subject, then the past participle of study is studied. To make negative questions is basically the same thing as when we're making an affirmative question or just a normal question. But what we do is we add the word not. So we have to have plus subject plus not plus the past participle. For example, have you not studied? Have, then use the subject, then the word not, and then study. And has Gino explained this to you? In what situations do we usually use this tense? So we're going to start with unfinished actions. As I said before, this is used when an action has started in the past but hasn't been completed. So the action still is going on. It's still happening in the present. For example, she has lived here since 2003. So this person moved to this place in 2003. It is 2025 and they're still living here, right? Started in the past and the present is still happening. She has known her since school. So this person, when they were little, they knew someone, they grew up, and they still know this person. So hasn't started in the past, hasn't been completed, something that's still happening. And then lastly, same thing, he has worked here for 3 years. Then we have 4 finished actions. So the action can be finished, but the thing is that the action started in the past and it has been completed. But the key thing in this is that the action started in the past. For example, I have studied at that university before. So some time ago, I studied there. And then Elena has finished her lunch. So she started in the past and she finished in the past too. We can use this tense. And this case can be used for several situations. For example, Okay, this example says he has taken the exam. So this is an action that started in the past and has finished recently. But we also have I have watched the TV show twice. So this action has happened several times in the past, right? That's the key difference. In the first example, this is just a one-time thing. And then the second example is something that has happened more than once, but still in the past. And then we have recently completed actions. So when an action has very recently ended, we can use this tense. And in this case, it is very common to use the word just after the verb to have. So that will make our sentence look like subject plus to have plus just plus past participle. This just adds this meaning, adds more meaning to the sentence, and it's this thing that we said. It's saying it has very recently ended. So, for example, we have she has just finished lunch, Jimmy has just left home, and you have just moved. And the thing that's very common when using the present perfect is to use adverbs. As you know, these adverbs usually emphasize what we're trying to say with the sentence. And these are the most common ones that we usually use, specifically with this tense. And these are just, already, still, ever, never, and yet. And the formula when using these adverbs with the present perfect changes a little bit, so we're going to see it. So for the word just, you just saw it, it's subject plus to have plus just plus past participle. For the word yet, this is a little bit different. The yet goes at the very end, right? So it's your normal sentence and yet at the end. So something important about yet is that usually we use this with negative sentences. So for example, subject plus to have plus not plus past participle plus yet. And then we have still. This will go at the beginning of the sentence, but the subject goes first. So it's subject, still, to have, not, and the past participle. Again, this one is also usually very commonly used with not. For example, we have I have just arrived. She has never visited Colorado. He has not woken up yet, and they still haven't called. And let's review some more examples. He has kicked the ball too hard. She has met my friend. I have opened the package. They have sold their house. He has won the contest. And they have played tennis. Y eso sería todo por este video. Espero que les haya ayudado y nos vemos en el siguiente.